Oh boy, I am pumped for Deadpool 3. The Deadpool movies have been the most accurate representation of a lot of our favourite characters in the Marvel Universe, and now he's got Wolverine back out of retirement. You cannot deny that these two characters coming together in a movie is going to be good, because what could go wrong? Oh wait, it went horribly wrong in the biggest crime adaptation in history. Yes, Deadpool and Wolverine Origins, the movie was garbage, and they took a character whose key USP was his non-stop talking and took it away. They sewed up the mouth of the merc with a mouth. I'm Danny Baker and this is 6 Degrees, and today this is take 2 of talking 6 Wolverine and Deadpool moments in the comics. I've been a fan of Deadpool way before Ryan Reynolds brought him into the mainstream. Deadpool was my password for everything in the early 2000s, for crying out loud. It's changed since then though, don't worry, I take cybersecurity very seriously. As a character, he's a great mix of being funny as well as being a badass, and because of his nature, he works really well with other characters. There were the 50 issues of Spider-Man Deadpool, where two of the mouthiest characters got to hang out and develop a bromance. Then, as we've mentioned in our X-Men Heroes video, he spent a long time with Cable, being literally joined at the hip in moments, which is why Deadpool 2's combination of the two was so good. But he's intrinsically linked with the little man himself, Wolverine, due to the fact that his healing factor is derivative of Wolverine's, because they were both involved in Weapon X. At least Wolverine Origins kinda got that one fact right, but obviously also really fucked it up as well. So in at number 1 for Wolverine and Deadpool moments, it's the first time they meet in issue 88 of Wolverine. So we have to have the first real time they meet in at number 1. Deadpool had been around for a bit at this point. He was the established merc with a mouth, and he'd been having run-ins with Cable and his New Mutants team, who then went on to become X-Force. One of the X-Force members was Banshee's daughter, Teresa Cassidy, aka Siren. She's got the same powers as her dad, basically. That's who Caleb Landry Jones was in First Class. Such a good actor. What a shame the movie wasn't. Anyway, Deadpool has a thing for Siren, but she's not as interested. So he ends up going looking for Copycat, aka Vanessa Carlyle, who he had a thing with. She's a shapeshifter who is a sex worker too, just like Vanessa in the movie, although she doesn't shapeshift. In the comics, Vanessa is now with Garrison Kane, a guy who was in Weapon X with our man Deadpool, and is trying to live a normal life in San Francisco with Vanessa, which involves being an actor, obviously. So while Wade is heading to them to try and win Vanessa back, Wolverine is also heading that way to check in on Kane for their mutual friend James Hudson. And this results in their first ever meeting at Vanessa's gaff. They're both being very flexible in their poses, and Deadpool references that Wolverine's healing factor isn't up to scratch, because he'd had all the adamantium snatched out of him by Magneto recently. And because of this, Deadpool leaves him for dead. But fortunately for Wolverine, it appears that his healing factor is back and better than ever. And after being a totally radical dude and surfing the taxi door in, he gets stuck in and he scares Deadpool off. And that was the start of a beautiful friendship. Our second degree today is the time Wolverine cut off Deadpool's head. So Cable and Deadpool have been doing stuff together a while in their own series, but they split up for a while, mainly because everyone thought Cable was dead after his island blew up. While admiring Cable's junk in the statue commemorating him, friend of the show Cyclops, there's a video featuring him, asks him to stop Wolverine from taking down a Hydra base. Deadpool wants to help because his old mate Weasel is now somehow running the base after showcasing some teleporting technology he calls the Penetrator. Cue some jokes using words to do with sexy time because this is a Deadpool series. And Deadpool is then on the base with Bob to stop Wolvie. When they come together, Wolverine gets his own logo in the caption, and despite Wade's best efforts to calm him down, he just gets his head chopped clean off. End of issue. Done. The next issue then starts with Cable's name crossed out and a new one replacing it. I really love the cover art on this series, it's very cool. So Wolverine is about to do Weasel in despite his protestations, when all the other Hydra agents run in and keep him busy, while Bob helps put Deadpool's head back on. Which then leads to a lovely little fight where they stab the shit out of each other and Wade just keeps on nattering away. It turns out Weasel was planning on creating these teleporting devices for all of the Hydra agents to send them to Guantanamo Bay. The clue was in the I in the name Penetrator. Deadpool got it, but Wolvie didn't. So it all turns out okay, and Deadpool can go back to checking out Cable's massive statue. Next up, it's when Deadpool teamed up with Old Man Logan. Yeah, just like in the movie Logan. Except the young girl here isn't X-23, it's Maddie. Apparently an Omega level mutant that Wolvie is tasked with tracking down and bringing in. And what do you know, there's a shady weapons manufacturer who's also after her, and whatever they want to do with her will involve some kind of painful procedure, of course. So, I guess I should say spoiler alert for this one. It's relatively recent, so skip to the next chapter if you don't want to know what happens. The series overall isn't amazing. Issue 3 has 2 fart jokes in the first 10 pages, but there are some cool moments, including my favourite. Maddie the mutant can teleport inanimate objects, so to help her and Wade escape, she teleports Wolverine's claws into Deadpool, leading him to go bananas over a few pages before having them taken away. I'm not entirely sure how that all works, but it was fun. It's stabbing time. We also get some lovely artwork showing Wolvie doing what he does best. He's still got it even as an old man. There's also another fight between the two, with Deadpool literally getting disarmed. So they finally break free and they talk about their parenting issues a bit while having another fight, as it turns out that Maddie can teleport humans but they die, and she's a bit evil, as seen with her evil makeover right at the end. Classic trope from the movies. Famke Janssen loves one of them. There she is. Oh, and again. We then get what I imagine will be the crux of the upcoming Deadpool 3 movie, with Wade pestering Logan about being buddies and all that, and he gets a fist bump from him, which of course goes like this: "Oh, you two." Number 4's a random one. It's a nice little mini-series that goes some places. So, Deadpool has S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Emily Preston in his head, thanks to some magic and some zombie presidents previously. He also keeps getting kidnapped and having his internal organs harvested, and he doesn't know why. He thinks it's to do with the super soldier serum, so he asks Wolvie about it. But he won't help, so who's another great super soldier graduate? Captain America, sir. But he won't help either, so Wade thinks, right, let's lure them in. He imagines a nice little Home Alone-esque situation with Logan taking down all the bad guys with him, with explosions and cutting their ropes and using microwaves as bombs. But it ends up all being in his head because he's back with the people who are kidnapping him and slicing him up. It's a remnant of Weapon X, who are now selling their wares privately. So Wade manages to escape and finds out he's in bloody North Korea, and that his DNA is being used to make fake saw-covered X-Men out of the locals. These locals are absolute sweethearts and their families are being held captive, as is a woman that Deadpool impregnated and his potential kid. What? Deadpool? Deadpool goes very quiet after this, and it's really disconcerting. Where are the quips? The story of these fake X-Men as told by fake Nightcrawler is also horrific. It's getting me a bit down, to be honest. Preston is also controlling Deadpool now because he's too glum. So they find out that somehow Cap and Wolverine are in stasis. How the North Koreans did that is not explained. They break out, take out the guards. There's a funny moment where fake Colossus and fake Wolverine really cock up the fastball special, and then DP gets all contemplative and it's actually quite sad, but it's kind of nice to see this side of him, I must say. Bad North Koreans are then about to kill the families of the fake X-Men, and it's brutal, but they're saved by Captain America, huzzah! He then runs after Deadpool in a very strange way. And then there's a mass grave of dead people, including DP's girl, and again, it's brutal. What a roller coaster this issue is. Not sure what the augmented reality was going to do on that page. DP and Wolvie finally get into the panic room of Butler, who's the big bad here, while Cap scares off the entire North Korean army. And Deadpool really matures as a human and realises that his kid might actually be alive. And then pow! He snaps Butler's arm. He fucking deserves it. And then crack! His neck goes. And then they just blow the place to absolute smithereens. But not before sending a warning to the big man in North Korea. We finish with Wolverine and Cap giving it the old, you're alright Deadpool.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Our number 5 features a cover with a lovely homage to this odd couple's first meeting. So we're in very recent territory now, people. It's proper spoiler time. This is 2022. Skip ahead if you don't want to find out what happens. So Krakoa has been established and the mutants are living it up and partying. But Wade's not been invited and he wants in. He's tried a load of ways to get in onto the island. Parachuting, piggybacks, in barrels, buried under sand, dressing up as Wolverine, through space, but no dice. So now his plan is to get accepted by Wolvie for doing something good, resulting in them having an adventure featuring the CIA and some robot versions of the X-Men. All created by Danger, the sentient personification of the Danger Room. When the mansion got left behind, so was she with all these robots. Harsh. She's now producing these robot X-Men for the CIA because they have her kid? And it's in a suitcase. Okay. Anyway, cue lots of japes between Wade and Logan, with the latter treating the former like an absolute shit, stabbing him in the head to shut him up, cutting him to bits. Wolvie's being a real dick here, but I guess Deadpool did shoot him up the nose. Then, in a rather anticlimactic ending to this little run, Danger has them cornered in her room, and she knows exactly how to kill Wolverine. Magnetised buzz saws. It creates a real mess, chopping up both of them, and then when their healing factors kick in, they become a weird amalgamation of Deadpool and Wolverine. It's very grim, a bit like the end of that Fly sequel. Anyway, this apparently was enough to scare Danger off and they get out of there. Story over, Deadpool's back in X-Force. Yay! Okay, our final degree today. So as we're seeing, these two scallywags have crossed paths loads over the years. The Deadpool movie references the X-Men, obviously.
Okay, they can't just dust off one of the famous X-Men. How about that Potts with the giant pigeon wings? What do those do anyway, huh? Carry him 3 feet off the ground to snatch up the nearest muffin crumb?
And Deadpool 2's even got Wade lamenting the end of Logan, beating him to the punch of dying. Oh, he's so meta. But in the comics, they weren't actually in a team together until 2010's Uncanny X-Force reboot. Wolverine's keeping the team going, but in secret from everyone, including Cyclops. And it now features our man James, our other man Wade, another Weapon X alumni Phantom X, and Psylocke and Angel, who is desperately trying to control the bad boy Archangel within him. They get cool white suits with red eyes so that our main men can look super matchy-matchy, and they get up to all kinds of hijinks in a team that does the jobs that are too dirty for the X-Men. They start by finding a reborn Apocalypse who's now a kid, and Phantom X decides that the best thing to do is to shoot him in the head, and also clone him. The clone is revealed through the next little story with some Deathlocks, evil cyborg versions of our favourite heroes from the future. Angel's inner bad boy then really comes to the fore when, after a little sojourn into the Age of Apocalypse, Dark Beast makes it so that Warren basically becomes the new Apocalypse. He knocks up one of his horsemen, inappropriate. See what happens to his kids here, Kang got up to no good with them. But Archangel ends up getting taken down and can't remember anything, and he ends up going to school as a handsome long-haired Adonis. The team also gets a Nightcrawler from the Age of Apocalypse universe, and he's seen some shit and wants revenge. I like nice Kurt. There's a skirmish in the absurd Otherworld with the Captain Britain Corps. Hey, Corps, you listening to that? I'm learning. So can you please stop commenting that I got it wrong in the other video? It also features a goat sorcerer that's actually Jamie Braddock, and a man that was skinned alive because of Phantom X and wants revenge with his tendril-like muscles. So he cuts Phantom X's face off. What the fuck, Ramsay Bolton? It also features the omniversal magistrix Saturnine, who is indistinguishable from Emma Frost. And the series run ends with a new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, featuring Daken, the Shadow King, Age of Apocalypse Blob, Sabretooth and Mystique, and the Omega Clan, these clones of Omega Red who've been brainwashed to think that X-Force killed their dad. They all want to make young Apocalypse clone Evan into the real deal, so they blow up the X-Force base after Phantom X has his heart pulled out and Gateway has his neck snapped, but Psylocke uses Gateway's dying moments to transport them to the future, where future Psylocke has gone all Minority Report and they're killing folk for thinking about killing. And eventually, using some Kang the Conqueror technology, they go back to their time. The new Brotherhood are hardcore, meanwhile, stringing up Phantom X's dead body while they just eat and play pool. And Daken and Sabretooth start playing the whole stop me killing everyone with your real power game with the future Apocalypse. Skinless Man, who is a real nutjob, plays more tricks on young Evan, giving Brits everywhere a really bad name. And look, take the judges' wig off, mate. They're ridiculous enough on actual English judges. So X-Force infiltrate their base, bad boy Kurt betrays Wolvie, who ends up getting a load of father-son chat from Daken. Deadpool starts speaking some sense to Evan, very weird. Kurt kills Blob because Blob had eaten his wife by teleporting a shark into him and it eats him from the inside out, people. Then Daken tries to drown his dad. Evan goes full Apocalypse because everyone's just so nuts. Deadpool kills the skinless wanker. Yes. Wolvie then kills his son because future him told him to. Don't worry, he'll be back. And it turns out it was all just a ploy from Sabretooth to fuck around with him. Jesus, Victor. And then he just runs away laughing. Mental. X-Force then take off after everyone bad is dispatched. Deadpool gets serious with Evan and they hug it out. And then Evan presumably wanks himself into oblivion, being a teenage boy. And Phantom X gets resurrected because comics, and because he had 3 brains, he gets resurrected as 3 people. Then Uncanny X-Force was finished, just like that. But we all know it comes back. But in between all of this is my favourite bit of Wolvie Wade action. There's a little subplot where bad Age of Apocalypse Iceman is having a mega orgy, and Wade drops by in drag. Wolverine and Kurt fight with him, and bad boy Nightcrawler chucks him into a furnace. Then there's a company that are making custom assassins. Wade's been healed, so he's handsome, and goes to infiltrate the place. At the same time, Wolverine and Kurt are there, but they get captured by the aforementioned Omega Clan. Wolvie then gets filled with super lupus, which makes him really fat. Wade's downstairs at the time hacking a mainframe, and the only way Wolverine can survive apparently is to gut himself, unleashing a torrent of blood and pus right over Wade underneath him, doing a fucking Arrested Development quote. It's glorious. I loved this X-Force run. Oh, I need to take a breath. So there you have it. There's a load of content for the movie to use, or will they just go in its own direction? These two are the ultimate odd couple. Well, apart from him and Cable. But I trust Ryan Reynolds with my life. Yes, I said it. So it must be good. Unless it isn't. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. I bloody loved researching these two. Please check out the other videos on our channel. There's plenty of them. Smash that like button. Smash subscribe. And until next time, I've been Danny Baker. This is 6 Degrees, and I'll see you later.